So, accounting basics. Accounting basics is applicable to you as an accounting scholar, whether you're in grade 10, 11, or 12. Reason being, it sets your foundation, right? So before you move forward, you have to be comfortable with accounting, what accounting is and how to do accounting, because it doesn't change. So if you think about having a destination to go to, let's say you're at point A and you have to arrive to point B, right? And the road is referred to as accounting. Either way, you'll travel on accounting, right? So the vehicle within which you travel will be the difference. So in grade 10, you'll travel, let's say, in a scooter, because only one person can fit. When I say one person, like I mentioned in our introductory video, the one person is your one owner, right? So a sole proprietor. That's what you're tested, or accounting is tested within the context of a sole proprietorship in grade 10. And then in grade 11, you're introduced to a partnership where you have two or more owners in the form of partners. So maybe you have a single cab, right? Or a vehicle that has two doors that allows two people in, or maybe more. And then you'll have a bus, for example, in matric, because you have multiple owners in the form of a public company. So it's just different contexts within which accounting is tested. So accounting doesn't change, right? Even if they introduce different topics, it will still be accounting that is tested. So if they introduce a new account, you still account for it using accounting. So in essence, if you don't get a grip of accounting, you'll struggle, and I encourage you then to start here and set a firm foundation before you move forward, because topics might get complex, but if you're firm in your fundamentals, you should be okay. So accounting basics, will split it between 4 different segments, referred to as, or what I refer to as, accounting background. That's just giving you a background of where accounting comes from and why we have accounting. And then we'll move on to the accounting equation. Then we'll speak about the accounting process, and lastly, the accounting flow and the visual representation of the accounting flow. So accounting background. So why do we have accounting? Why does it exist, right? To kind of torment you? Not really. So accounting, if you think about it, right? Us as human beings, we live off exchanges, right? So I have something that maybe I feel like I don't need as much, and maybe someone else who has what I need or what I want is willing to take what I have for what I want, right? So we live off exchanges. So over time, markets were created where a buyer and a seller can meet, where there was a demand, or where there's a demand and a supply can be made to meet that demand. So where there's a demand and there's a supply is basically economics 101, right? So that is not the subject that we'll be focusing on, but in essence, that's the basics of economics. A market that is created so that people, being buyers and sellers, will come together and exchange, right? So for as long as there's a market, there's economics, while an economy. So these transactions grew in size and in number over time. And being human, again, we always want to benefit. We always want to make sure that what we give off is less important or of less benefit to us than what we receive. So you want to receive more for what you've given away. So accounting is just a means of measuring the transactions. So in essence, you want to know if you've actually benefited from the transaction as a person, or in essence as a business, because businesses are what are the places, or a market has businesses where transactions take place between a buyer and a seller. So those transactions will be measured so that the business can know if it's doing well or not, if it's making a profit or not, right? So why would you want to be in business unless you want to make money, right? So you can have charities that you give to and so on and so forth, but in essence a business exists so that it can extract as much benefit as it can, and from the benefit that it's extracted, then it can determine what it does with that benefit. So whether it employs more people, so it provides employment for other people, or it gives to charities or to its community in need. But in essence, accounting allows for a business to be able to determine whether it's made money or not. So it's a language, right? I want to present to you accounting as a language. So there's certain people who learn this language, right? So you have a transaction that takes place, it has to be translated into the accounting language, and it goes through the accounting process, which we'll go through. And in essence, the end point, there's a start point, which is your transaction, which is your exchange, and then there's an end point, which is your communication. So for example, if we think of English, right, as a language which we all communicate using, it's made up of sentences, right? So but a sentence is made up of words. So there's rules within English. So you have to start with a capital letter, for example. There's certain grammar rules, and you end with a full stop. You start writing from the left hand side of the page to the right hand side, and the more sentences you have, it becomes a paragraph, so on and so forth. And let's say you're writing a letter, so your end point is a letter. So with accounting, the end point is then financial statements. So financial statements are then interpreted, or that language, which is accounting, is then interpreted to basically determine whether you've received that benefit or the business has made profit or made money. So it's a language. I don't know how to further explain that, but it's basically a language, right? So at the end of the accounting process, the business can be able to determine if it's doing well or not, and whether it's achieving what it set out to achieve when it first started transacting. So that's why we have accounting. So for as long as we have an economy, we'll need an accountant.